All right, let's talk about something that feels like it's straight out of a sci-fi movie, but it's not. We're diving into artificial intelligence on the battlefield. Yeah, we're talking about weapons that can actually think for themselves.
And that brings us to the big question I want you to just kind of keep in the back of your mind through all of this. Seriously, how would you feel if robots were the ones fighting our wars, completely on their own? What does that even look like?
Now, just a quick heads up before we really get into it, everything we're about to cover is for educational purposes. It's all based on publicly available research and reports, just so you know where we're coming from. Okay, so first things first, we need to get a handle on what we're actually talking about here, because this isn't some far-off future concept. AI is already being developed and woven into military systems all over the world. So let's break down what that really means. The official name for these things is autonomous weapon systems. Now, it's super important to get this straight. This is not the same as a remote-controlled drone you see on the news. With a drone, there's always a person somewhere, a pilot, who makes that final call to attack. With an autonomous weapon, the machine itself can find, choose, and attack a target once it's been activated. The human is on the loop, kind of supervising, not in the loop, making that split-second decision. So, why? Why are militaries pouring so much money and effort into this? Well, the people who support it point to a few big potential advantages. These systems can crunch just massive amounts of information way faster than any person could. They could spot patterns we might miss, and they could speed up reaction times when every single second counts. And of course, a huge part of the appeal is taking human soldiers out of the most dangerous, life-threatening situations. But, and this is a huge but, for every potential upside, there's a really serious, maybe even catastrophic risk. And this gets us right to the center of the whole debate. What happens when we let lines of code make life and death decisions? What could possibly go wrong? Well, a lot. This really shows you the fundamental difference between how we think and how a machine thinks. We bring things like empathy, morals, and a real understanding of the situation to the table. And AI, no matter how smart it is, doesn't get that. It can totally misread a situation because it hasn't been trained for every possibility. It can hallucinate, basically make up patterns that aren't really there. Or even worse, it can be biased because it learns from the data we give it. And if that data has biases, the AI could end up unfairly targeting certain people. This quote from the UN Secretary General just hits it right on the head. Taking a human life is this incredibly heavy, profound moral decision. And the critics are asking a really simple question. Can we, or should we, ever hand that responsibility over to what they call the cold calculation of algorithms? It's a huge question. So with all these massive risks on the table, you've got people all over the world trying to figure out how to control this technology, which leads us to maybe the biggest question of all. When it comes down to it, who is actually in control? You'd think everyone would want to set some ground rules, right? Well, getting the world's major powers to agree on anything is, really, really hard. The US and Russia are both against a new ban, saying the laws we already have are good enough. China says it supports a ban, but their definition of a fully autonomous weapon is so specific that it basically excludes most of the technology being built right now. So we're at a standstill, and that's a pretty dangerous place to be when the tech is moving so fast. All right, so let's do a quick recap. On one side, you have the promise, the idea that AI could make things faster and more precise. But on the other, the risks are just enormous. We're talking about technical mistakes, baked-in bias, and the huge ethical problem of a machine making a moral choice. All of this could kick off a new arms race, which would make the whole world a lot less stable. The one thing everyone seems to agree on is that we need meaningful human control. The problem is, nobody can agree on what that actually means.
And that brings us right back to where we started. Now that you've heard all the sides, what do you think? Should an AI ever be allowed to make that final decision in a war? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. We really want to know what you think. And hey, if you want more explainers that break down these big topics, make sure you subscribe.
Thanks so much for digging into this with us. It's a complicated topic for sure, but as this technology keeps moving at lightning speed, staying curious and informed is more important than ever, so keep asking those big questions.